Good morning, everybody. We are going to do part 2 of the double plant pot hammer. In the first video, we done the top half of the plant pot hanger. Today, we're going to be doing the bottom half. And so we're going to introduce adding beads on for you as well. So, that's I'm going to hold that a little bit higher. Okay, this one you don't really need to see. Let me just put my S hook down there. Right, okay. Brown one's the one we're looking at. Okay, that's the top. So we finished by doing our gathering knot. So we're going to start. That's the gathering knot there. Actually, let me hang that over the top a bit, and that will help. Okay, I can take him out for a moment. Okay. You can see my little paintings on the bit. Okay. So we've got all our threads coming down. So again, we're going to take 4. Because I've used the 2 different types, 2 different colours. I'm going to take 2 of one colour and 2 of another. And I'm going to make a square knot. Okay, right. This could be done as a single hanger and use this design instead, maybe. So there are options. Right, I'm going to leave that about, should we say that's about 2.5 centimetres down. So 1 square knot, and there's the second half of the square knot coming through. There we go. Right, then I'm going to add a bead in. I have got these big 15mm beads with 1mm holes. They're big enough to get 2 of my strands through of 3mm cotton. So this does happen. They do tend to fray. You can wrap your ends in masking tape or washi tape, even sellotape. Sellotape does tend to leave a bit of a residue, that's all. But try to pull the whole thing through. A crochet hook helps. You could use a pen, but I would suggest using the head of a pen, i.e. don't get ink on your cotton. And that. I'm going to actually use one of my paintbrushes, so let me go back. Oh, there we are. That helps push it through. Just about see it coming through a bit more. This is probably the hardest bit. It's getting these threads through. There we are. It's coming through. Okay. Keep in there for future use because I'm bound to need it again. Again, push them up, but make sure the cords are straight. And then we'll perform another square knot underneath, holding that bead in place. There's one half of it. Now, obviously, if you've got lots of beads, you can add more. I'm only going to do the one for the purpose of this demonstration. Okay. Right. Then I'm going to do a twisted square knot where I take the 2 outside cords around to the inside. And now I'm going to make a square knot using these 2 outer cords, which were originally the filler cords. Okay, I'm going to leave about 4 centimetres roughly. Okay. There's one there. Then leaving a smaller gap, I'm going to perform the same knot. So I've probably only left about 1 centimetre there. So The 2 outside cords come to the middle, and then another square knot. It's easier to work with cord now because it's got a lot shorter. You probably can make this a little bit longer than that one is. It's just about there. You haven't, as you can see, you haven't got to be exact with your measurements. I'm just doing it by eye, what I think looks good. The only thing you need to bear in mind is, am I going to have enough cotton? And I think for the amount that I have left on this other one, yes, you will have. Right, I'm going to make one more twisted square knot. That one goes there. Okay, so 2 over. I'm quite liking this using the 2 different colours, and they contrast quite nicely. This one, I'm going to make a slightly smaller gap, just so it seems to be coming down. Gives it a bit of a pattern. So I've done 1, 2, 3 twisted square knots, and that is where the bottom of my flower pot will be sitting, just there. Okay, so now I'm going to do exactly the same design on the other 3 sets of 4 cords. I'm going to do those, then I'll come back to you. Right, I've done another 2 strands. You rejoin me and I'm on to the last strand, the last set of 4. So first square knot's going up. Oops, I'll keep those straight. Just using this as a guide. Now that one there, no, that's too high. Let's bring it down just by pulling the outsides. Too bad. A bit more. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Through the middle. One's going through. The other's coming through now. And up he goes. Again, keeping straight. Thank you. And then we'll tie the other square knot to hold that bead on at the bottom. So this is a 4th strand. 2. Then we're on to our 3 twisted square knots. Okay. So outside in. 1, 2. Excuse me. A bit lower. And a bit tiny bit lower. Okay, about there. Okay. Don't want that to twist around like that. Thank you too much. So I've got a great big bead. Just pull them together a bit more. Right, again, another twisted knot. So the outside to the in. We're going to have the brown in the middle this time. So the white's in the middle this time. And it's brown. The square knot with again. It's not too bad straight away. 1, 2, 3, 4. And around we go. Okay, and once more, outside to the centre. So this time we now have our white in the middle. We'll do a square knot, yes. Doesn't look quite right. Let's try again. Round to the centre, square knot. And let's line this up with the last one. Good. Okay, so that's all 4 strands done in the required pattern. All four are the same. So now we're going to be moving down. So I'm going to move the camera, angle it down a bit more. This is where we're going to be taking two cords, the two right hand cords of the strand on the left hand side and the two left hand cords from the right hand side, and we're going to make a square knot. Okay, so we're making a square knot down here. I'm actually going to change the design a little bit on this square knot. So he's about, again, 2 centimetres. I'm going to go just slightly longer. There's a reason for this. Okay, so one square knot there, and then the second square knot. Okay. And then we're going to take the two filler cords from the centre and pull them over. We leave them there because that is going to make a button knot. It's my type of button knot. I have seen it done differently as well. So we're going to work round now. We'll do that knot again. So just make sure you get the adjacent to. And we will perform another square knot. There. Same height. One more square knot. And then we'll take these round the back and bring them round the front. It will, because I'm using 3mm cotton, it will make it look more like a button. You may not be able to do this with 4mm. It may look very out of place. Okay, so we're starting to get our little netting coming. So again, with the next remaining two from that and the first two of the next cord, another square knot. That was a bit too high, that one, doesn't. Just remember the height, take it from the middle of there. Okay. Through we come. Right, so spread those in the two filler cords and down we come. Okay, so we've got one more to do. We can see we've got our 3, so we need to join it up with the remaining 2 cords from each of the strands. I'm going to move that up a wee bit because it's starting to get in my way a bit too much. These are those beach towel hooks. Right, that's probably too high because I need to have an even come down. Right, so we have now got our 4 remaining cords. So one square knot. Lower. Yep. And there's the other side of it, the D side of it. So I always work C and then D. Okay, then once again split those. Bring over the top 2. And we've got that button knot. You can perform that in the middle of the square knot as well, but I've done it that way. Okay, so now we're going to repeat again by taking 2 cords from one strand, 2 cords from the next strand, and now we're going to be getting the colours together, whereas before they were alternate. And we're going to make another square knot. We will just make a square knot. There's my little C, there's my little D. Keep the middle central. Okay, and that's probably about 1.5 centimetres down, roughly. Okay, and here's the D. So you haven't got to do that moving over for the button knot if you don't want to. I wouldn't recommend it, as I said, if you're using 4mm cotton. Right, so the next 4 strands round. Take that on working anti-clockwise. I find that the best way for me to work. That could be because I'm predominantly right-handed. So if you're left-handed, you may wish to work the other way. You can also do your square knots the other way, whereas I'm doing my C first of all, and then the D. You can do your D and then your C. That's actually known as the alternating square knot, but you can work right to left. Right, about the same? Yes, okay. Then the next 4. Move it over. This is where it gets a little bit awkward if it's hanging up. You just want to be sure your cords are in the right area. I'm sitting on a chair because I get back up if I stand up for too long. And I'm hoping this clothes was helping so you can see. It wouldn't be my ideal choice. They're roughly the same. So I've got 4 cords left now around the back here. So I will perform the last square knot there now with those. Oh, that looks okay. Right, okay. So we are at, if I move my green one along, we're at this point of the pattern at the moment. So we should be able to, moment, probably got my head then. Right, I'm just going to insert the flower pots. First the top one, which was my 3-incher. Okay, and then down the bottom, the 4 inches going in. Right, okay. So at the moment, it's looking roughly like that. So we need to do something to get all these together. So what I'm going to do, or what I want to do, let me hang you back up here. I am going to make, I'm trying to get those beads there because that gives me a point for which everything is even. I am going to make some double square knots. So instead of using 4 cords, I'm going to use 8 cords. So if you grab one strand, or one section rather, and the other section, and then we'll start by taking 2 cords from one side, 2 cords from the other, and they're going to be our filler cords. And then we've got 2 cords to make our C. So the usual over the top in the middle. Just keep those middle cords together. I want my alternate pattern, even though you're not going to see it too well. That's about halfway along the pot, so I've done it probably just over a centimetre. So that's the first half. And then I finish the square knot by doing the other side. Okay. So we've got a nice big chunky square knot there. And while I'm at it, can you see how that button knot has come out differently? It's given a different effect to the square knot. Right, so anyway, I've done that side. Now I need to do the chunky square knot, the big square knot, the other side. So again, I've got 8 cords. So 4 filler cords in the middle. And the first half of the square knot. I'm trying to keep these straight, but right. So what I'm going to do here, just before I actually pull it up and tighten it, is get these bits, those two there, playing me around. There we go. And I can use the back sort of balancing measure. A little bit longer. That's better. Okay, there's the last one there. Okay, so I have my 2 gathering knots. Sorry, not gathering knots, my 2 big square knots. What I'm going to do is take one set of cords and I'm going to feed all those cords through the middle of here. This is what I call a burning knot. Let's feed it. Now pull it back out a little bit. And what we're going to get is those 2 knots. I want them sitting beside each other so that when my flower pot goes down, it will sit on them. Okay, let me move him out of the way. So to make that happen, so I'll go through that again because it's something different. It's just something I thought I'd try. So from your large square knot, 4 cords apart, doesn't matter which one, pull the other one through and just place them on each other so they look a bit like a bed. And we'll hold them there like that, and we'll do our gathering knots working up to that position. Okay, so this one done the same. So we now need to do a gathering knot with another piece of cord. We'll be back in a moment for that. Right, I'm back with you. Sorry, quick comfort break. Right, well, lunchtime actually. I'm now going to do a gathering knot. So I'm starting with my loop. I'm going quite high this time. Pull my finger down. There's my other little tail there. So with the long tail, I'm coming round. There's 1, 2. See, once it's going round, it's easy now to get it round. 3, 4, 5. I'm not counting just for to tell you how many to do. I just cut a piece of thread about 60 centimetres. Right, that's about as far as I'm going to get round. So that goes through a hole, just make sure you've got enough room. And then with the other end, we're going to put it nice and tight, and then we can trim these two ends away. I'm going to trim these two ends away because the green I'm going to change to a different colour. I'll probably have the brown for that one, and that one I will have the same colour as this. Right, so all that remains now to be done is what are we going to do with the bottom strands? So the choices, there's many choices actually. You could just trim them all off, and that I'm going to actually put some beads on, and I'm going to, as we did earlier, I'm going to use two strands through the centre of the bead. I'm going to use alternate colours, only because I think it's going to be nice. Let's try and get rid of that green out of the way. Is that a bit better? No. And as I said before, this I find the hardest. You could, at this stage, if you wished, make some more square knots around the bottom if you wanted. You could. I'm going to put single beads on. If you've got lots of beads and you'd like to put lots of beads on, put lots of beads through. I can't get that one through because it's fraying so much. So a quick push through. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to push it probably about there and tie an overhand knot. I'm not going to put these beads on in any particular length or anything. I want to have a mishmash of lengths so that you can actually see the beads. If they were all the same, hanging at the same length, they'd be bashing against each other. A bit too much, but so I'll probably start about here and then next one down, all the different lengths. So, and to secure them, I'm going to secure them just with a simple overhand knot. So, like you would over, put your loop and put your two threads through. And before you actually finally push it up to where you want it to be. And then it's up to you where you want to trim those. You might want to trim them there and comb them out and have a feathery effect. So that's one done. I can see my problem is going to be getting alternate colours. See, some strands I am varying a lot. So I'll be back to you. Right, let's put that one on. There's not a lot left on this one, is there? I want to show you what you can do with these hanging down strands as well, and why I tell you not to waste them, particularly when you're completing a piece like this. There we are. Can you see how I've got that at different heights or length, I should say? Right, so I'll carry on, get them done, then I'll be back with you. Right, welcome back everybody. I have, as you can see, put beads on every end. I put two cords through, one of my brown and one of my beige. And then I just trimmed straight down to a diagonal. So fine, that looks good. I will brush those out, comb them out. So now when we hang this up, I'll have to move the clothes rail back in a moment. I'm going to put both pots in. So there's our one for the top. Okay. And then we have a slightly, that's a 3-inch. And then we have the slightly bigger 3.5-inch at the bottom. Right. Let me move that back, move you out the way, move you out the way. And actually, no, I won't move you out the way too much. I want you to see right. So I have a plant pot missing. Okay, so that one goes down there. Just flatten that a bit more. Just gently move it, a bit little. Make sure it's even. So, same pattern, the same string, 3mm. As you can see, they've come out both very differently in length, slightly. I finished the bottom of the brown one with the beads. The green one still has all that string hanging around at the moment. But with the brown one, I did have an excess of string, like this nice big bundle here. Now with that, I'll bring that back. If you wish to sort of dizzy, further embellish your plant pot holder, you can get pieces of leftover cord, make them all the same length, and make some lark's head knots around these crosses. Now maybe use that one there. Let's go under and over. Obviously, if you use them all the same length, get them measured first of all, they'll all be hanging the right way down. So here on there. So I've gone behind the two cords with my loop, so I've folded the string in half, gone behind. If I go downwards, I will get the bump of the head knot up the front. So depending on where you want your bump, see difference there. Whereas my bump is underneath, that might be a bit too bright for you. And then my bump's on the top. So that on there. You might get two pieces on there, but you could have some more hanging down tassels as well, either that line or that line. You could just try it and see, because they're easy. A lark's head knot is very easy just to undo. Because just remember, you're only making, you're folding your string in half. That's not a good example of half, is it? Fold it in half, loop down or up, whichever way you want to go. Just keep it flat. Keep it flat. Pull the middle two cords through. Take care though to keep these cords on the plant pot already flat. But there we are, you can add some extra bits with your string. This length might even make two. I mean, you could do extra embellishments elsewhere with them as well. So keep hold of these bits that you've got left over. This one, my green one, I'm going to probably do, I might make it into, I've got that much cotton to work with. I might be able to make it into a triple hanger. I might. That's why I'm holding fire on this one. Because I can always undo some of this bottom to reduce the use of string, but the bottom half of the hanger hasn't actually used as much string as the top has. The top's used more string because we've done more square knots, either twisted half ones or full square knots, whereas the bottom, we've only done 2 square knots, and then we've done 3 twisted square knots before going into the netting area that holds the plant pot. So things to think about. So you can adapt the pattern. You can do more or less square knots. As you can see there, that's not totally correct. You can try different knots. You might want to try more twisted knots. Just remember, do 5 and turn anti-clockwise, 5 half square knot and turn. Sometimes it does turn on its own, but I prefer to do the 5 and then turn anti-clockwise so that your working chords that were right and left become left and right. And it's up to you what you want to do with it. So that's a free hanging plant pot hanger. There is a disadvantage to these, is that you have to have a hook, a ceiling hook or something to hang them on. I will be teaching at some stage how to do a flat back plant pot holder, but that's for later. So I hope you like what you see. That's the end of it. There we go. Okay, thank you for tuning in.